Do you know I had a ticket for today's game? It got lost in the post. It got lost in the post. I don't think I've ever been so thankful to Royal Mail in my whole entire life. I'm glad I didn't make that 2.5 hour drive to go and watch that today. I really, really am. Nottingham Forest 3, West Ham United 0. What do we say at this point? What do we say? I mean, the game started off, and I thought we were looking decent in possession. Like we were passing it around well. We weren't creating much, but we were keeping the ball well, and there was some good movement. But we were still very toothless in the final third, which seems to be a problem we've been having quite a bit this season, isn't it? I mean, Bowen started up top with Paquetá and Somerville. Somerville was barely getting involved. Bowen kept on moving out to the wing, so there was just never anyone in the box. Whenever we had the ball on the wing, Emerson was going down that left so many times, and there was just no one in the box. No one in the box. Like, we really missed like a Thomas Soucek today. You know, that player that would get himself in the box to make himself available. Mikel Antonio probably should have started. He would have been in the box. Well, maybe he would have been in the box. Sometimes he's not, but we started the wrong lineup. That double pivot of Rodriguez and Alvarez in the middle, right? It can work in some games, but in a game like this where you've got so little going forward, you need someone else in there who is going to push forward. The problem is who would you have put in instead of either one of those players? You would say Soucek, but he had a virus. Do you put Soler in? Irving? I don't know. So there was some selection issues today. You've got to take that into account, that there was no Soucek available. There's obviously no Kudus, no Fulbrook. Right. They are selection issues. We'll go with a back three. Mavropanos in there with Todibo and Kilman. Wan-Bissaka, Emerson playing as wing-backs. And I thought that looked okay. It looked okay. But as the game was going on and the lack of chances that we were creating, it kind of felt like we were going to be punished for that, and then we wasn't. It was Chris Wood who was just left completely unmarked, so close to the goal, to head in probably the easiest goal he's going to score this season. Yeah, such an easy goal for him to score. Mavropanos maybe should have done a little bit better, but he just wasn't being marked, was he? He was just left completely unmarked, and we go 1-0 down. And then a hedge drop, and Nottingham Forest up the tempo. They up the intensity. They play their pressing game, put us under pressure. They're running through the middle. Alvarez gets his first yellow card for tugging on a shirt. Stupid decision. I think he should just let him go, because I think Rodriguez had it covered. I think Rodriguez would have been able to, make a challenge on him. So if he didn't pull that shirt, he wouldn't have got that first yellow card. And then obviously he got his second yellow card. Again, silly decision. And got himself sent off for the second time this season. We've played 12 games and he's been sent off twice, and both times for getting 2 yellow cards in a game. He's becoming a liability, Alvarez. He really is. Last season he was a little bit of a liability because he kept on picking up yellow cards, but this season seemed to have upped his game. So annoying, so frustrated, because he has got the ability to become a fantastic defensive midfielder, but he just makes too many rash decisions. He's got a little bit of a hot head. He just needs to cool it down a little bit and just think before he acts sometimes. But he doesn't, and he picks up these needless yellow cards, and he gets himself sent off, and it puts us in a really awkward position. Now, in previous games this season, when things haven't been perfect, Lopetegui has changed it at half-time, and then we look better in the second half. So, before Alvarez got sent off, I was thinking, right, at half-time, we'll probably bring on Antonio, we'll change one of the midfielders, we'll change the system slightly, and we may look slightly better. Because that's what we have been seeing. But because Alvarez went off, we couldn't do that. We made substitutions at half-time. We take off Somerville, which I wasn't particularly keen on. And we took off Rodriguez, which was a good idea. And we bring on Soler and Antonio. Now, obviously, we're down to 10 men. And I thought that we gave it a go for like the first 10 minutes. But again, it just wasn't really working. We weren't really creating any chances. We looked very toothless. And then we leave... what's his name? I can't remember his name. We're leaving my marks, don't we? We're leaving my marks on the edge of the area. He has a clear shot on goal. We go 2-0 down. The hedge dropped further. And then from that point on, it was game over, wasn't it? It was game over. They looked like they could have probably scored another 3 or 4 possibly. Luckily, they only got 1. Todibo tried to chip it. He kind of deflected off him. Then he had a free shot to smack it away. It's so frustrating at the moment, isn't it? It just really is. I mean, Lopetegui, he doesn't know his best 11. He doesn't know his best formation. Doesn't know how to get the best out of these players. And it's starting to really look really, really likely that it's not going to work and he's not going to be able to figure it out. I mean, it's got to be difficult when you don't have Kudus and Souček and, Fulkirk. You've got to take that into account, but still, the players that we have available, we know that they are much better. They're capable of putting in much better performances, and you've got to ask the questions why. The same, reason we were asking these questions last season of Moyes in the second half of the season, where the players just weren't putting in the performances that we knew that they were capable of. We're seeing these same issues again, same issues. I mean, we do look good when we're in possession, and I feel like Kilman and Todibo are really good signings, but we just, it's lack of concentration. I don't know. It's just not working. It's not working, and he probably. I'm not completely throwing in the towel just yet because of Alvarez being sent off. I'm not, because if he didn't, maybe something else could have happened. But I'm really starting to question him now. Really starting to question him. And I know there's going to be some people who are saying, "Well, it's taking you this long." I wanted to give him time. I wanted to give him the opportunity to prove me wrong. And I guess there still is a chance that he could do that, but as I say, it's looking increasingly unlikely that he is going to be, that he's going to be able to do so. So, yeah, it's gonna be a dodgy few weeks still, because I still don't think that Sullivan's going to pull the plug until at least Christmas, unless we lose our next 3 games, unless we lose against Everton, unless we lose against Newcastle and Arsenal as well. If we lose those 3 games, I think he is done. But if we get a win against Everton, if we can pick up a draw against Newcastle and put in a decent performance against Arsenal, he'd probably be given a little bit more time. I'm still hoping. I'd still like to see him do well. I'd still like him to prove us all wrong. I would, but it's not looking promising, is it? It's not looking promising. It's fun being a West Ham United fan, isn't it? It's so fun. And I was actually gutted that I didn't get to go to today's game. This morning, when I knew it wasn't going to go, I was really like, oh, for fuck's sake, I'm not going to be able to go. But by the end of it, I'm like, oh well. I'm kind of glad I didn't go. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else much to say at the moment, is there? There isn't. We've got to keep working. We've got to keep trying. We've got to keep pushing forward. And hopefully we see something a little bit better next week. But my optimism is growing short now. It definitely is. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you've liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, good evening, good morning, good night. Come on, you Irons.